Oh, yeah, that's right. We're here. It's Pro Football Talk Live. Mine is Mike Florio, which is the best kind of show there is, right? Who the hell wants to talk to him or hear him anyways? He'll be here in a second. He's got a little minor technical difficulty. He can hear us. We can't hear him. It's the beauty of him doing the show down in West Virginia there yesterday, but we know that is the big news. And we'll talk to Florio. In fact, it's very ironic, of course, that the show today is starting out without him, and it's the biggest day of the year for the Vikings. So I'm kind of enjoying the fact that he can't bask in the glory right now of Justin Jefferson and the Minnesota Vikings. But, of course, we know that's what we're going to talk about here in this first segment when we get him locked in here and we can talk and hear him. Justin Jefferson signing historic contract yesterday, right? That's the big news of the NFL. I think Florio had a feel. He said that yesterday that this might have been coming down the pipes here rather quickly, and it happened very quickly. I mean, disappointingly quickly, actually. Or I wish it would have happened quicker because we get off the air, right? I'm going to get ready to prepare for the podcast and do stuff like that, and then the news breaks of Justin Jefferson not long after that. So it's like they knew Florio wasn't going to be able to talk about it live on TV there. They wanted to stick it to him one more time. But that is the big news of the day, certainly. Justin Jefferson, one of the best wide receivers in football, 4-year extension through the 2028 football season, $35 million per year in new money, right? 88.743 fully guaranteed at signing, and $110 million guaranteed for injury at signing. It's a no-brainer. I think we all knew that. And with a $35 million a year per average, I think most of us, Florio and I, had been talking about over the last few weeks, the range where we thought this could come in as far as average year salary, whatever I'm saying there, right? And you get to that, and I think we all thought it would be somewhere 35, somewhere between 35, maybe 40 million. If it got to that, I don't know. It seemed a little crazy. I thought maybe some of these higher numbers might come out or come above because I was going, wait, 35 million a year. I mean, that should have been done and figured out a long, long time ago, right? I mean, as we talked about the last few weeks, the Minnesota Vikings, Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, had kind of cornered themselves at the combine by saying that he deserves to be paid like the highest, like the best non-quarterback in football. And that's what eventually he got. And I think, of course, it's the right move by the Minnesota Vikings. Finally get that done, can put that in the rearview mirror, right? And now they can start the new JJ to JJ combination in Minnesota. JJ McCarthy, Justin Jefferson. Not everybody has to answer these questions during minicamp. I think that's the really big thing that's important. There's no distraction here. And they can continue to grow their football team for this 2024 season and see if they can – do something special with a rookie quarterback that I expect to be the starter. I do. Sam Darnold, of course, has talent. He has starting quarterback caliber talent in the NFL. But you drafted J.J. McCarthy at 9. You traded up a spot to get him, right? You might as well start the future now. He's a mature guy who's been playing NFL football. He fits the offense and what Kevin O'Connell wants to do. And, of course, we know the number one thing the Minnesota Vikings want to do is come up with a bunch of creative ways to throw the ball to Justin Jefferson. And he is the focal point of the offense, and O'Connell and his passing offense, they always orchestrate everything around him. So that's why it's big to get him in the building. And I think without further ado, Mr. FaceTime. What up there, Michael Florio? How are you? Thanks for joining the show. Appreciate having you.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me on my own show. Yeah, it's great to be here. So I also have mixed minus in my ear, but I'll fight through it. Among the many other technical issues.
Move to Connecticut. Boom, boom.
I accuse
boom.
someone of foul play because this was the Justin Jefferson day. This was the day that we could bask in a certain amount of advanced knowledge.
Well,
I tried to hint at it as best I could. I sent you the text on Sunday that the deal is likely coming.
Yep. You did.
On Monday.
Right.
You did get it.
I did
Even
get
if you didn't respond to it, you did get it.
I did get it. I did. And when you say things like that, I'm always like, well, Florio knows. He knows something. It's going to happen here. So you called the shot there. And, I mean, it's Justin Jefferson. He's such a great pro, right? He does so many things the right way. And we're just hoping he rubs off on you a little bit because you're, again, continue to be the Antonio Brown of the show, not a real team player.
Right.
Sit down 60 seconds before the show, and you give nobody a chance to figure out the technical difficulties before we come on. So, congratulations to Justin Jefferson, and you take it from there, Antonio. Go ahead.
First of all, I have a medical condition that pops up from time to time. I had to poop. Second,
Thank you.
Second, if they're going to pay me $35 million a year, I'll move up there. That's a deal. If you have the authority to extend that offer, I accept, and I will move up there for $35 million a year.
Okay.
My wife might not.
I don't know.
$35
million a year. She's not going to move up. Damn. I mean, you guys must be rich if she says the hell with that. I mean, that $35 million a year.
Well, money isn't everything. It's close.
You're right.
She'll
get
everything.
money in the bank account, right? So she'll get the use of the money, and she won't have to deal with you. I would see Jill's logic. That makes a lot of sense. Move you out and then increase her net worth. That is a good deal, Jill. Damn. No. Yeah. Good deal.
Yeah. Maybe she'd hold out for less, not more.
Yeah. Right.
Those circumstances.
Right.
So I heard you earlier. The $35 million was the low end of what we thought it was going to be.
Yeah. Right.
And the other thing that surprised me, Chris, was the fact that it was a 4-year extension, not 3. I think there was an effort to hold it to 3. And at some point, the recognition was, we just got to do 4. That's what the Vikings want.
Right.
The Vikings ended up getting this thing on the affordable side of what I thought it was going to be. And it makes me look at it and say, why did it take this long?
That's what I said the same thing. Why? Exactly right.
And this gets back to
the offer wasn't on the table, I don't think, really here. I would think.
Exactly.
Right.
This gets back to the Vikings wanted to play it out through the draft. There was no urgency. There was no reason. There was no deadline. Yeah, he's not going to be in the offseason program, but who cares about phase 1, phase 2? They gave up part of phase 3 because they didn't get it done before the OTAs started. But as we said yesterday, and as I wrote yesterday, the Vikings weren't interested in talking until after the draft, and all that implies, because it meshes with the idea that, hey, before we make this commitment, let's see if somebody blows us away with a Herschel Walker package.
Right.
Let's see if we could get Malik Nabers.
Yeah, let's see if there's a player that we believe in.
We're still confused about that, and they think it's made up, but it's so funny. The people who are paid to cover the Vikings or Minnesota sports generally, were asleep at the switch. So now they just want to poo-poo the idea that something was going on. Sorry, folks, just because you decided not to work, don't hate on those of us who were working and trying to get information and trying to advance this thing and understand what was going on. Don't lash out because you had your thumb up your ass, okay? I've seen some of that, and it's obvious. And now you're going to carry the water of the team because the team doesn't want you saying and doesn't want anyone knowing that they tried to maybe do a little flip-flop.
Yeah, right.
And if you can get Malik Nabers for $30 million for 4 years, in lieu of paying Justin Jefferson $35 million per year, dollar for dollar, that's a good deal.
Agreed.
That's a good deal.
Agreed.
It's not about how much you love a guy. Look, let's not get it twisted. Yes, all of you out there who have your number 18 jerseys and love Justin Jefferson and want him on your fantasy team. Every player in the NFL is a piece of a football machine that is eventually going to be swapped out for another piece. The question is when and whether or not the piece falls out on its own. Sometimes the piece falls out on its own and walks away. Most of the time, the team says, you're done. We're putting a new piece in. And they don't get attached like I would to my dog. No, they don't get attached at all. There's no emotional attachment. If you have emotion, that was Bill Belichick's problem. He had no emotional attachment because he knew if he did, he couldn't do this piece out, that piece in. That's the bottom line. So,
no,
but once they got through the draft, Chris.
Yeah. Once they got after the draft, you realize you're right. You might not get the guy you really wanted, right? The guy that, and obviously they want to get a guy that they're sold on, that they know can fill the void of Justin Jefferson. And we discussed this yesterday and many times leading up to the draft, right? I mean, Nabers was viewed as that guy, right? People I talked to all over the league were in awe of Nabers, right? You talk about things. Hey, what about the receivers? man, Nabers. Did you watch Nabers yet, right? So he was viewed as a guy by a lot of teams, and I think including Minnesota, from what we both know, that he could fill that void, and then you won't have the clapback or the fans and everybody going, how did we let go of that guy for this guy, right? Nabers was kind of looked at like a can't-miss prospect throughout a lot of most teams in the NFL, I think by everybody, really, right? So, yeah, I don't fault them for that, right? I mean, I don't. Okay, hey, it's business. It's tough. The NFL. I mean, it's the difference between winning the Super Bowl and not making the playoffs is like 3 plays. I mean, it's close. So, yeah, saving money on certain players, and like you're talking about, the value of a rookie contract compared to what they got to pay to Justin Jefferson, I'm certainly not mad at them for doing that, but I'm glad they got it done. But I do think it all crystallizes here. I mean, I could have named $35 million at the Combine. I mean, we knew that was happening. I mean, duh. They told us that, right? But as you know, as time went on and everything there, we realized it wasn't quite as a hard line of an offer, and teams were calling Minnesota, and they were obviously thinking about some other way to finagle the situation either way. But they got their star. They got their man, Justin Jefferson.
We had spitballed yesterday on the very strong possibility that the first 2 years were fully guaranteed at signing.
Yeah.
And that the third year became fully guaranteed March of 2025. And that's exactly what happened. And part of the fourth year becomes fully guaranteed in March of 2026. So the practical guarantee in this thing is at least 110 million, if not 125 million, because they're not going to cut him after 2 years. And after 2 years, they take on the obligation of $110 million that's going to be paid out to this guy. And the cash flow is, after 2 years, 4 years, and 5 years, the most that a non-quarterback will have ever gotten, until the next deals come along to supplant this one. But for now, this is, by many metrics and any way you would look at it, the best deal that a non-quarterback has ever gotten.
Right? No Fugazi-ness here, right? No Fugazi numbers, really.
No.
One where you look at and you go, oh, he could see every dollar of this, and then some, yeah.
If he keeps playing at this level, they'll be back at the table after 2 or 3 years. Because after 3 years, he'll be looking at 2 years that are well below market. There is no phony, funny back end that drives up the average. This is a real $35 million a year, $31.94 million per year on the 5-year deal. And the first 4 years, is a practical matter, he'll make every penny of it. So I would say at the latest, after 4 years, they'll do a new deal. Maybe they'll do a new deal after 3. And to button the point on Malik Nabers, let's ponder the alternate reality of what would have happened. Because the easy reaction is Vikings fans would have lost their minds if Justin Jefferson had been traded. But when the dust would have settled on round 1, and you've got Malik Nabers and presumably rookie first-round quarterback who becomes joined at the hip and walks through the door together, that's a different vibe altogether.
Well, that's what I want. I don't know, how do they pull it off? That if they were going to get Nabers, I don't know if they were
trading to the Falcons for the 8th pick.
They're going to ride, but you think they're going to be able to pull that off, to get all that draft capital just to get up to 5 and then still have some left over, right? With J.J. McCarthy and all that. I don't know. That's the part I wonder. Were they that close to just going, hey, let's go Nabers and Sam Darnold and let's do this and let's see where it goes? Well, that's the part I've questioned a little.
I think that, and look, I doubt that they had the dominoes arranged to the point where they had a clear path back to a J.J. McCarthy, because we would have heard more along those lines. It would have been hard to keep that quiet. But I think what would have happened is they move up to get Nabers, and then they get to work right away on getting in striking distance for McCarthy, because the Drake May ship had sailed. That was the guy that we had heard over and over again. That's what they wanted, and the Giants wanted, and the Patriots took. So you activate the Malik Nabers plan with the plan B. Justin Jefferson gets traded, and we cobble together the draft capital to get in position to get J.J. McCarthy. Because I was told not that long ago there were 5 or more teams that were willing to give up multiple first-rounders for Justin Jefferson. If the Vikings wanted to go that way, they could have
They
gone
had
out.
it, no doubt about it. I've told you that. I told you that during the process. I know there was calls fielded by the Minnesota Vikings from, yes, a few teams at least in the NFL, at least just calling, trying to figure out, letting them know, like, hey, you know, we're open for business. We'll talk a little bit about a Justin Jefferson deal. So there's no doubt that, you know, they were thinking about it, pondering, and teams were, like us, I think, going, wait, why this deal seems like it's easy? Why isn't it being done? Let me call. He's so damn good. This is worth the call. And we'll throw out a baseline like, hey, we'll start right here for a trade, and let's continue to talk. You know, from what I know, they had plenty of that.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.